Hi, I wanted to welcome you ladies. I am Liz London. I am the co-founder of Causability, and I'm joined by Ian Wallace, who's the other co-founder of Causability. And we would love to hear about your cause today. Just tell me everything about it.
My name's Alicia, and I am a multimedia artist based out of the Rio Grande Valley. And
And where is
um,
that?
that is in the southernmost point of Texas along the Mexico border.
Wonderful.
Um, yeah, so like if you know San Antonio, 4 hours, about 4 hours south of that. Um, we're deep down there.
Wow.
And our project is called Remade in the RGV. It is basically a sustainable fashion show and series of workshops that will really engage our community with sustainable fashion topics, but in a way that's like, the most relatable and the most accessible to our community. Because there is this is something we have been discussing behind the scenes, but the love for thrifting and creative reuse and just being crafty and um, all of that though is really innate and like tied to our culture. So I think, kind of bringing that out of people and kind of showcasing it in a different way, which is based off of my experience with like this specific art practice in using secondhand materials. So that's, thank you so much again for like seeing something in our proposal and helping us make this magic for our community.
Can you tell me in more detail about, you said a series of workshops and the timeline and how many people you want to engage and, um, how you upcycle and how the workshops are going to be formulated, like what's the substance of them, how are they going to work, how are you going to engage the community?
Mhm. Yeah, so what I've kind of been envisioning is more of like their mending social workshops. So less formal in like in structure, but kind of, an area where people can skill share, bringing their specific experiences and talents to learn from each other, not just from me. I will
Mhm.
be presenting on like my artwork and kind of like the timeline of where I've gotten like to this part of the process. And yeah, also pulling out upcycling examples from like all over the world and, upcycling and reuse in like an artistic context, so there's like creative reuse in the artistic context, in the economical context, in like the environmental context. So there's all these different like topics that I think, I want to embed into like our conversations and like presenting what we're presenting on. And like maybe we'll, screen a documentary. The one that I think of immediately is called, what is it called? It's been a while since I've seen it. But what was it? Oh, The True Cost. That's what it's called. The True Cost, which is kind of like one of the earlier looks at the global fashion industry and like what fast fashion like those impacts. So bringing all these outside materials, to the space for us to just like digest it and also to have conversation about it. So that element of like the social aspect of those workshops and meetings is really important to me because I think that's like where we can share our ideas and it's less of a like demonstration or like a formal workshop, but it's more of like a social like idea gathering, bringing people together to appreciate, like I said, that like the creativity for reuse that already exists within us, but elevating it or giving it a platform. I think those are like my main goals for this.
So can you give me an idea of, okay, are people going to be sewing or bringing, their own pieces? Are you going to offer pieces there, or can you
Mhm.
walk me through
We'll do
like the
both.
process? Because I'm an artist and I love process.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think about this a lot too. But yes, we'll definitely want to have people bringing it in, something that they have that they want to work on, or maybe like unfinished project. Basically bringing, maybe we'll recommend to go thrifting and then bring that, specifically like intentionally choose like going to thrift and then bringing it. And we'll probably also have like clothes on hand to kind of provide. And I do want to make it kind of like it's a BYOSM, which is bring your own sewing machine. Because I have friends that they tell me that they have a sewing machine, but they just don't like get to working on it or don't know how to use it exactly. So in that way, we'll have more experienced sewing machine users helping to teach the less experienced. That's kind of like the skill share that I'm picturing. So we'll have, BYOSM.
I
And
love it.
yeah, we'll be providing materials as well. I have a lot personally that I just collected. And with the second nonprofit org that we also want to incorporate, they are called Creative Reuse Arte, and they're kind of working on developing their supply of like secondhand craft materials, so that they will be really helpful, I think, in supplying the events.
So you have two nonprofits you're working with? Wow.
Yes. Officially, we're working with Voces, and that's who is joining me. I know Rubén and Guadalupe had just joined, but those are the three main people in the Voces Unidas team. And yes, Creativity Use Arte is like a kind of an up and coming organization, and they've worked with other organizations within our network. So I think this is like an ideal time to really like have that kind of partnership.
Well, this sounds like a lot of fun. So when are you planning on doing these workshops? What's the timeline?
In the proposal, I had put down that it would be from September to March. And that timeline does kind of work. We're hoping to have about 4 workshops. And, the first one might be kind of like a test run workshop where we like are inviting people specifically. So we'll have a couple workshops, and then the sustainable fashion show will be happening at the end as a kind of like culmination of all this work and all the documentation that we also want to be doing for that.
Are you charging people for coming to this, or is it all free?
Right now, we are planning it as like a free event.
Okay, that's really nice.
Yeah, I think that's something that we like know for our people, like having it to be free is making it more accessible.
Yeah. How many people are you think anticipating coming?
For the workshops, I would imagine, or I would hope, like between 5 and 15. I think that's like a good group where there's enough idea sharing, but also like enough where you can like manage that many people. And then so over 3 or 4 workshops, that could definitely add up. And this is also the crowd that we are like nurturing to also come to the event and even participate in the fashion show at the end.
Is the fashion show going to be at a different location, venue?
Yeah, it will be. That's something we're still kind of on the talks about, because there's actually a lot of really amazing organizations that would love to kind of be the host venue in different areas, because our region is pretty large. So that's something we're still working out, but yeah.
Well, that sounds like so much fun. I love this idea.
I mean, it's really exciting for us too, and everybody that I've told to, or like on social media, like people are very, very excited for the idea. So I know it's something that people want here.
Does anyone, Rubén or Guadalupe or Michelle, do you have any questions, or do you want to share anything about your viewpoints on this, or your excitement, or
or tell us about your organization with your own words?
Yeah.
I'd like to first off share that we're delighted to be a part of this. Thank you so much for having us, and Alicia for your vision and your wisdom to lead us there. A little bit about Voces Unidas. Our mission is to foster community in the Rio Grande Valley with healing justice-centered programming and capacity building. And we've been working with Alicia for almost 3 years now. So I would like to say that this is one of our success stories, or she is. So we're really proud. And like our vision is a peaceful world without borders, upheld through interdependent networks of support and goodwill that are self-sustaining and replicable. So in that token, I feel like this project really fits the type of work that we do. Like it was mentioned, we are here by the border, so we do have a vision that is really hyper focused on what it means to be a person that dwells on the border. We like to tell our own stories rather than have other people tell the stories for us. And because of that, we focus a lot on uplifting the positive and the like future worlds that are abundant and inclusive of all people. And so it's just a pleasure to work with Alicia. And I'm going to stop because I know that we have Rubén and Lupe, and they should also introduce themselves. By the way, I'm the co-director, um, and Rubén is the other co-director. So,
well, first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Rubén. I'm the other co-director of Voces Unidas. We operate on a like non-hierarchical kind of leadership structure. We do collaborative leadership as an organization, and that's kind of easy to do because we're a group of only 3. And just to add to the things that Michelle said, first of all, I'm very excited about this project. Like Michelle mentioned, Alicia's been a longtime collaborator of ours, somebody that we've invested a lot of. We've done a lot of planning and thinking and dreaming together. And I've had the privilege personally to see different versions and scales of this project as Alicia and I and others have sort of thought through some version of a program like this over the course of the last 2 years. So to see it come together in this way, like Michelle said, this just feels like such a, like a win for us and a success story of, the work that we do with leadership development and collaboration with artists and other folks like Alicia. Besides the things that Michelle shared about our work, I'd like to include that like the other 2 pillars of our work, besides the healing justice work that we do, are civic engagement and grassroots organizing, as well as culture change and narrative shift. And I think that this project for us is it kind of like encompasses all 3 of our pillars, where there's healing justice sort of weaved into some of the themes and processes that we'll undertake over the course of the next few months. It very much touches on our ideals and values around things like migrant justice and environmental justice and land stewardship. So it is a beautiful and exciting and very creative project. We have a lot of faith and trust in Alicia as a leader in our community, as a culture worker and change maker. So for us, this is just, to be able to be a part of this and share in this work and witness her kind of grow into leadership in this way. She hasn't been back in the community for too long, I think just a few years, since she graduated school and made her way back home. So it's a monumental moment in that it serves as a great testament to not only Alicia's individual efforts and creativity, but I think for us, like the collective work that has gone into, just imagining this project even.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I love everything your organization is about. It's very powerful and it's very needed, as you already know that. I'm not saying anything you don't already know, especially where you're located. I cannot, I mean, I'm speechless about what happens on our borders. So you guys witness it every day and live with it. So my hearts go out to you and the people crossing and trying to cross, and and may they all have justice.
I don't mean to detract from such powerful words, but I did have a question regarding the grant, along with what Alicia's questions were with regards to the timeline. I wonder, are there any reporting obligations for this work?
The reporting is actually at the end. We want to make sure that the nonprofit's been surveyed to make sure the viability of this project, and it sounds like there is one. And then afterwards, the Alicia will be, it's only one requirement, is to do a post survey of the participants in the nonprofit. And we have, that's all in a Google folder,
Okay.
which we've already constructed. And the other requirements are to keep kind of a journal along the way of recording of, the process, what ups and downs, like if she's going to a thrift store, maybe record it. Because we get donations from the general public, and so social media is a really big thing for us. So we need content to help us drive our mission. So when one of the and I think she's already signed that agreement. So there's no requirement from the nonprofit unless they want to share on their social media, the events, anything. She'll have a Google folder where she can put like brochure, flyers or whatever, so we can post those to get the word out. We want to make this dynamic. We want to make it a win-win-win for everybody. And the best way to do that is to get the word out and let the world know what you're doing and what's going on in your community. So that's really the only requirements.
Sure, that's very in line with the way that we approach documentation in our own work, and also the way that we highlight the work that we do. So I think we were, even before knowing that, I think we were planning to do those kinds of things. I'm sure Alicia was as well. And I think something that we'd like to see come from this, like a narrative, media of some kind, probably video, that kind of highlights all of those things that you mentioned, everything from like the ideation that's gone into this work to, the planning and like, the workshop series, and obviously the fashion show at the end. We'd really much want to document that and then put all of that kind of content into one narrative video at the end.
Right. Yeah, we agree. And, that's something that the money, she can use the money for anything. If she wants to hire a videographer, she can do that. Whatever. The money is for her to determine in her budget whatever she wants to allocate it for. So, and we think that, that's beautiful. We want that. That's the content documentation is very important for historical purposes, not just for social media, but you're telling a story about stories. And so I think that's beautiful.
Hi. Yeah, I don't have much to add. I don't have much to add, like especially like in this context. I just want to say like I'm Voces' newest employee. I've been working for Voces almost a year. And I met Voces in the same, I guess, context like as Alicia did. We were both in an artist residency with Voces, and so I feel like I don't know, it's just like also like a testament to how Voces turns like previous, participants like into collaborators. And I'm just really excited like to see Alicia's vision come to life. I feel like it's been something that you've been talking about, I know, like for a good minute. Yeah. And so yeah, I'm just excited to be in this space and like help cultivate that and bring that to life. So
And yeah, these are some of the topics that we for sure want to incorporate, even like on a deeper level, just thinking about clothing as like a transnational system or like process where, where it's harvested and put together. So in the same way, like we're kind of thinking along that same line of like, clothing comes from all over the world and it moves across borders and everything like that. And, so we're able to like kind of reflect on our own experience, and like the history of the region is so like deeply tied to the river and the border and how that's changed. So these are topics that I think will for sure be popping up in our conversations throughout the whole process.
By the way, we're just joined by Sarita Sarita Barriera, who I think is collaborating with Alicia.
I'm here. Thank you so much. I apologize. I have my nieces here. That's why I don't have anything on. Pero I'm really excited to see what the project's about and just learn and be around if anything is needed.
The more the merrier.
That's why I said I was like, come on, join.
We're
Thanks.
also supportive. We're also supportive of Alicia's project, and you know what? I do have a sewing machine that's lying around, and I need to do something with it. So I'll be there for sure with the sewing machine. I'm gonna learn. I promise.
I think, having it multi-generational would be kind of fun too. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
thought
that's
about that.
absolutely what that's what the organization really like loves to incorporate
Okay.
also. So
Okay. Great.
I was wondering if you had any like insight or anything that was learned in those previous rounds that might be useful to know, like especially with budgeting or anything that really like was a learning lesson.
Plan for everything to change.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the big one. Is that so? We had a person who had this entire workshop planned around teaching at-risk kids about photography and other items, and it was mostly going to be in the carceral system. And what was happening is all of the tools and stuff, like everything had to be go through this like 5-step process to figure out like if that justice system would even allow the kids to use the equipment, and it just every time they would say yes, no, but then like what they say yes to sometimes what they would change, or sometimes they say no to, they would change. And so essentially she just had to constantly pivot. And she was supposed to do her event like in like January when we first kind of we're actually in December when we were first kind of working, and then eventually she wasn't really done until June of this year, really, or maybe May. And so like, and it was like, and we were just working with her the entire time because it was just like a very difficult situation. Now, of course, that's going to be a lot of logistics that you aren't going to have to deal with because you're not working with the frameworks of like a system like that. But regardless, like, plan, have an idea, have a plan, but also be very ready to improvise and pivot and switch up and just know, hey, maybe the things that we have up front may not work out all the way through. And the only thing is just communication. Like just like if something changes, let us know. If you need help or anything like that, just reach out to us, email, say, hey, something's going to come up, the venue's going to change or something like that, and we can talk and kind of just help with that situation.
Yeah, we're very flexible. So, I mean, there's not whatever. And as far as the fashion show, Mars, who I think you met, that's doing our marketing now, he did a fashion show for his project, part of his project. So if you want to reach out to him, he just did another fashion show for Pride during Pride about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he had about 100 people there and some, I mean, it was fun. He had a good time. The community was enriched, and we were not a part of that, but the year before, we were. And so that kicked him off, and it gave him confidence to do this next one. And so I think just be prepared to have your confidence, enriched, because you're going to be flexing your muscles. I mean, I know you're a powerful artist now, but be prepared that you're going to really soar after this. So,
I mean, that's awesome. That's so great to hear. And I will definitely be reaching out to Mars about that the experience.
Cool.
For sure. Yay. I mean, that's pretty much the questions I had. And I'm really glad to hear about the flexibility. We will for sure be keeping in close contact.
We're not going to be in your business, but we're here to support. Like if you have something that comes up and say, hey, look, I need a draw immediately. I mean, for this financial stuff came up and we really need it before, this project or this, we're flexible. So just let us know. I mean, just keep us informed.
I just want to say, like, Alicia, if I'm here to support, like, if you ever have any questions on content creation. We've done a lot of content creation in the past together, and simple is easy. And it could be as simple as, journal entries that you can like string together later on, like video journal entries.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because you know, and you know, it's the rhetoric is not going to get any better in the next couple months, you know, about the situation. So there's definitely going to be you know, things you know, happening that is going to kind of put a focus on the border in a negative light that will definitely have to be counter you know, counter narrative about, you know.
That's why we want to treat this with kid gloves and be very intentional and focused and not political, which I know you're not, but we are not going to be. We're not going to politicize any, just to be upfront, we're not going to politicize any of this. This is your project. We are here to support you and serve. And that includes the nonprofit too. You know, if there's something going on in your organization, you just need to talk or vent, we're here for you. I'm not saying that.
Thank you. Like if we ever needed any type of sounding board.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Liz. That's so kind of you.
Yeah, the idea is to kind of like hopefully create some sort of like, you know, like alumni, you know, basis, like so where like essentially like each person who won can use another to kind of like shoot ideas off of or help in some way, and I know like nonprofits are, you know, so busy constantly trying to work, but if nonprofits could have like the ability to communicate with us as well, like hey, you know, in some collaborative fashion, we want to be kind of a part of that like kind of unifying collaborative system, you know, as part of the outreach of this.
We want it to be a win-win-win for everybody. That's our bottom line. Win-win-win for everybody. No losers, only winners.
Beautiful.
So
I mean, this is also like right to what Ian was saying about like the negative rhetoric, and like we feel all these like negative things on the daily, but this is really like our opportunity to create like positive, you know,
right
environments and positive feelings for people through clothes.
Yeah, and we all, you know, and our identity, our clothing is part of our identity, and so we can create stories having a new identity. And people are trying to get into this country to establish an identity.
There's a lot of depth here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, many layers, many levels, and so we're here for you. I mean, we live in Texas. We know what the political system's like. We don't know it firsthand like you do, but we understand it to some degree, and we don't like it. And we want to change it through helping your organization and you, Alicia.
Well, we really appreciate that.
Well, on that note, if anybody else has anything to say, forever speak your piece or now.
Thank you all so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.